Hello, Tartu. I'm happy to be on the stage, and I'm going to share you the story of Ample, a really early stage founding story. And I'm going to focus a bit more on the struggles we had, as probably a lot of entrepreneurs, they have felt the same, and sometimes they just need the final push to just move forward. Also, just a few months ago, we opened the bicycle factory near Tallinn, and as it's quite like an old school move to do something like this in a software heavy world we live in, so I'm going to share you why we really thought it's a good idea. So, first of all, if you haven't seen an Ample bicycle before, then you have one on the screen. So it really looks like a common bicycle, and that's what it should be. So bicycle was invented a long time ago, but I think it was really well done masterpiece. So these are the bikes which are meant for people who take it as a daily driver, like Ardo from Siga mentioned, traveling a city. Most of the trips are really short distance, and we are, with our products, focusing on the range of, let's say, 3 to 15 kilometers, and this is where we think our bikes are really good at. So all of the electronics are inside the frame, so the biggest tube on the bike holds the battery and the electronics. And the bike like this weighs just 13.5 kilos, which makes it one of the lightest electric bikes in the world. So, about Ample. We are a commuting solution. We manufacture light electric bicycles for daily drivers. We were founded almost 6 years ago by 3 friends and engineers. It didn't start with a business idea, or even it didn't start with the idea of changing the world. We were just curious. We were engineers spending most of our time in a garage and just wanted to create things. And actually, I was at that time a professional motocross racer, so a long way from being an entrepreneur. We are a really vertical company, probably coming from our love of doing. So we take it from the ground up. We learn what our customers need. We take our view on that. We do product development, testing, all that stuff. We do not process raw materials. So we have suppliers all over the world, from China and Taiwan, from Germany and Canada, and also some of them from Estonia. But when the components are ready, then we get all of these components back together to Estonia, where we have full control over assembly, quality processes, and so if the bike leaves our house, it's ready for the customer. We are also a direct-to-consumer company, which means we don't have any dealers. We do everything ourselves, fairs, digital marketing, and which means that our bikes can be ordered all over Europe from our own website, and in just a matter of days it will be delivered to your door. We also have a flagship store in Berlin, which is there for not too much for actually selling the bikes, but just creating trust in our focus markets. And we also take care of the after service, so we have service partners, and also we are taking care of the service in our house as well. We are a team of 53 as of today, been growing pretty fast. Just 2 years ago, it was 18. Also, in terms of revenue, since the start of selling the first Ample bike, which was in 2016, our revenue has been growing more than twice every year, hitting nearly 6 million last year, and we plan not to stop yet. We also raised a total of 3 million euros in capital. We've done all of that in crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding on Estonian platforms, recently on Fundabeam, just last autumn. So we have many people in Estonia and also international who are small stakeholders in Ample, and they are also good ambassadors for us. So it's kind of also been a part of our marketing strategy for a direct-to-consumer company. So more than 5,000 Amples are already on the roads. All of them we have sold ourselves. So if anyone is coming to me that they want to sell our bikes, we say no. our customers are really happy with our push as well. We really are customer-focused product company. We are passionate about product, and we also really take care of our customers. So whenever there's a need, then we make sure that the product they purchase from us really is their daily means of transport, and it can't fail. Because if it fails, then they are late for work and they're super angry. And along the way, we've been near zero or profitable, which has made our financing options somewhat better. And if I'm going to talk about the beginning as well, then we didn't have another chance. And we just opened a new factory. It is capable of actually producing 25,000 bikes per year, but it takes roughly 3 years to get there. So for this season, which is starting now, we are planning to assemble at least 6,000 bikes, so more than all the previous ones combined. But let's get back to the beginning. It was just 3 random dudes. When the first bikes were ready, then we started to really understand that it has a lot of impact. It's just not just a lovely project for ourselves, but it could actually have a huge impact on people's lives. And we started to build it as a startup, as a company. And then when we reached out to other people to either sell our bikes or raise money, then the conversation rather went like that we were really pumped about our bikes. We show them to them, and then it's going to change the world. It's so lightweight, it's so fun, and blah, blah, blah. And then it went downstream directly from there, especially, let's say, in Estonia, where maybe cycling as a means of transport is not that common. So people said, yeah, it's all fun, and maybe even it looks cool, but for this money I can buy a car. They asked all these questions which we had to answer no, and you can't ride it without pedaling. It's not so fast, actually. It's legally limited to 25 kilometers per hour. You can't take the battery out of the bike, and all these weird things. And maybe sometimes if someone was really even pumped about the bike, they said, yeah, maybe I should go to have a race with it. And well, no, it's not really meant for that. It's just other things. And yeah, the last one. The early bikes had the wooden case for the battery. Maybe not the best idea we had. So this is the very first bike we had. It doesn't have to look nice. We call it Crocodile. But if you could imagine this bike along the conversation we just explained, then it makes some sense. So these are the very first bikes we actually showed to other people. They didn't sell too well. Let's be honest. So about the struggles, if you have the founders who are really focused on the product, they are really passionate about everything they do, then it's kind of weird if not everyone else feels the same, I guess. So actually not many people thought it's a good idea to go forward with, even our closest friends and family sometimes, but definitely people who we thought it could be a good idea, and the price seemed ridiculous to almost everyone. So during the 2 years since start, we just sold 4 bikes. 3 of them went to our friends who just probably bought it because they felt the energy. So the sales record didn't go really well in the beginning, and finding money from investors was really hard. So we didn't really qualify for professional investors in the kind of old world, and all the startup investors obviously were looking for world-changing software. So bicycles seemed old and sometimes even stupid. So we quit schools. Hannes is another founder, and we just closed ourselves from everyone and just starting building stuff. In the beginning, of course, when we even reached selling more bikes and we started to look partners who would be willing to produce our components, then the beginning was hard. They were like, yeah, our minimum quantity is 3,000, and we're like, okay, that's fine, but can we start with 3 or so? So it was definitely a challenge, and it also hurt our own promises to our customers. So delivery times got delayed and made also plenty of mistakes everywhere. Back in 2016, when we actually had our first international marketing campaign, and it was basically a launch of Ampler bikes internationally, we had a pre-sale campaign where we introduced our bikes, and we actually got more than 70 people all over the world who were willing to make a deposit of 3,000 euros, nearly 3,000 euros to our account. And then when the money did actually arrive, then PayPal just closed our account and said, yeah, it's fine, but we actually don't trust you. And then we had this 150,000 euros on our PayPal account, which we couldn't use, which was really necessary for us to actually keep our promises to our customers. So definitely not easy, and yeah, for even several years to come from that time, dealing with banks was never easy for a young company. But I think as it should go for all the young entrepreneurs, just you have to keep going. We were stupid enough, and I think passionate about it enough as well to just believe that it's the right thing to do, and we continued, and until now it has paid off. Along with the fact that we really like doing stuff ourselves is the picture I'm going to show you next, which is the opening party photo from our factory. It did really look good during the party as well, when there was happy vibes along the building, but to be honest, then today it looks even better, because there's actually loads of people assembling all kinds of colors of Ampler bikes which reach customers. So, a bicycle factory seems like a really obvious idea to us, but to justify this, definitely we have had a lot of questions from investors and people around that isn't it like more meaningful to have them assembled in huge factories in Asia or somewhere else? Then it is true that the factories, it doesn't seem too logical sometimes. We don't assemble them more efficiently or cheaper than other factories in the world. The capacity is also rather limited. We are still a really small bicycle manufacturer in the world. But what's really important that our business model is really different from the, let's say, bicycle industry in general. And even if it doesn't look like a really big deal, that we are just not having dealers and kind of being in the dealer position ourselves, then actually the processes of manufacturing and assembly are quite a lot different. Usually a bicycle shop has to order or pre-order the bikes from the manufacturer roughly like 6 to 8 months in advance. But we as a fast-growing company have to be much more agile. So another thing is that when a manufacturer does assemble a bike in a huge factory in Asia, it's not actually ready. It's not actually to be ridden. So there's a local dealer in a bike shop who a mechanic goes over the bike and adjusts everything accordingly so it can actually be used. But for us, we have to do it in-house. So whenever we assemble the bike, we know that this bike is now 100% ready to ride. We also have way more flexibility assembling different models. So for us, it actually doesn't even hurt our efficiency to do all the models at the same time. Like one by one, it's red, it's model 1, model 2. So which means it gives us much more flexibility on adjusting our manufacturing to sales. So it's always quite a hassle to predict what people are going to buy, but we have that flexibility in-house. And we can also do late customization when it's necessary to add up extras, some additional equipment, and do it in a really short time frame. So another thing, we don't have a production line in place like you would imagine in a big bicycle factory or a car manufacturer. So they're just individual workstations who are building up the bikes in just 3 different stages. we are assembling them, which means that if we want to speed up assembly, we can just add up these individual workstations. But if you have a production line, which of course is far more efficient, if you want to make it faster, then you probably need to build another assembly line. And this makes us capable of actually delivering from the factory workshop, let's say from the beginning of the very first manufacturing process to the door of the customer in just 5 days if we don't have a queue. And also another important thing that our also customers, as our customers are in Europe, not so many of them is in Estonia, but still, our product development, customer and assembly is in the same place. So we have really immediate feedback loops and testing. So, wrapping it up, at Ampler, we believe that by creating better commuting experiences, we are actually doing good for people and their lives, and also for the environment at the same time. That's it. Thank you. I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Ardo. So I was interested in, you were talking about in a traditional bike model, I mean, it comes in the box, and then it goes to the dealer or the mechanic, and they have to kind of put it together, adjust it, and there's some, and you're cutting that out. So how are you shipping then? Don't they put it in a box because that's cheaper to ship, and you got to ship a whole bike with handlebars and stuff?
That's true. We do put it in a box, to be honest, but just the box is huge. So it's roughly 3 or 2 times bigger than a conventional bicycle box. So the bike is fully assembled. The only thing we do, we remove the pedal and we turn the handlebar 90 degrees, so it's slimmer. But if you look at it from the side, it's a full-size bicycle. And it's really, the box itself is developed to be easy to assemble, so you don't have to have a lot of like strength to lift the bikes outside of the box, but you just take off the cover, the bike stands still in a really highly secured base, which makes the really final assembly really easy. So it's also tailor-made for our business model.
Okay, and did you feel that was, I mean, that sounds like a very nice thing that I can get my box, and you've given thought to the way it's even unboxed and so forth, but was that adding a lot to the shipping? Did you sort of have to balance that off?
Kind of, but not in a big picture, let's say. If our bikes, they cost roughly 2,500, so that added value really makes up to it. And one of the restrictions we have with electric bicycles and the batteries inside them, we can't ship them by plane. So they are delivered by trucks anyway, which means the size of the box is not actually so relevant.
Interesting. Makes sense. Now, have you been, do you get some of the parts and the materials that you use from China? Is that right? Have you seen any of the effects already flowing on from our Chinese suppliers with the coronavirus and so forth? Are you already starting to feel anything from that?
Not yet. I've actually been in touch with some of them to just ask what's the situation like. We have one of the factories quite near to Shanghai where there have been some cases, and they said that in their area it's fine at the moment. It's just really bad.
It's no problems.
It's Wuhan. But yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. They are also having the New Year's holiday. Until now it was extended for some time. So of course we have to monitor and see, and I hope that it's not going to be as bad as it could be.
All good. All right. Thank you. Thank you very Ardo Kaurit. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.